when you study a subject, you do come across large number of words, but some of the words are really funny and sound exotic. They sometimes pop up in your mind to excite your imagination. Getting back to molecular biology, I'd like to say about a few words. In 1960s, when the method for the isolation and purification of DNA was worked out, molecular biologists became enthusiastic and they started isolating and purifying DNA from all organisms, ranging from protozoa to mammals. When they isolated and purified the DNA, they did want to study its physico-chemical properties, its hydrodynamic properties, for which they did a variety of experimentation. One of the experiments was that they spun a little bit of that DNA into analytical ultracentrifuge till it attained equilibrium at one point in cesium chloride density gradient solution. When that happened, they shot ultraviolet light at 260 nanometers and took photograph to find out whether entire DNA of the nucleus of a particular organism settled at one point. They did, but in some cases, a small fraction of the DNA settled at a slightly different point in the gradient. In some cases, they settled at a lighter side, and in some cases, they settled at the heavier side. And that minor peak, or the small fraction of the DNA, was called satellite DNA, depending upon where they settled in the centrifuge tube or in the cell, called heavy satellite or light satellite. Their Boyne density was definitely different from the main band DNA, but that's the term satellite emerged at that point in molecular biology. Then, when they began to study the sequences, they found that the DNA, the huge chunk of DNA, has repetitive sequences of different clusters. Again, that satellite DNA was classified into alpha satellite, beta satellite, and gamma satellite. So the term satellite stayed over there. When you study population biology of fish, you also come across this term satellite. In a school of fish, when thousands of fish swim along, there are groups of males and groups of females. In the group of males, you find that some are standard, but few are a little bit handicapped, but they do swim along with the standard males, and these little bit handicapped males are called satellite males. Coming to alpha, beta, and gamma, I tell you that this term is also used in different fields of science. In the study of apes, you find that some apes, male apes, are much sturdier than the others. They howl too much. They try to, gesture a little bit more, and they try to dominate other males and females as well in the group. These are called alpha males. A similar situation also occurs in human population. Some males in a family or in group are dominant. They dominate over others. They try to exercise their influence. They are alpha males. The same happens in the group of females also. Some females are sturdier, taller, and maybe more beautiful, intelligent, but dominating. These are called alpha females. So these terms exist in different places. I'm coming to another term, hot. While studying mutation, molecular biologists found that at some places in the DNA, the frequency of mutation is much higher than the other places. Whereas in the normal case, the rate of mutation is 10 to the minus 6, in certain places it could be maybe 10 to the minus 3, which means that the rate of mutation is much higher in some of these spots, some of these places, and these places are called hot spots. where the rate of mutation is much higher. When you study biodiversity, you also come across the term heart, the place, the area where there is a huge number of biodiversity, that is large number of much larger variety of plants and animals occur. They are called or designated as hotspots, biodiversity hotspots that you find in Himalaya and other regions. So hotspot, the word hotspot in molecular biology, hot in biodiversity, well, this term is used. Of course, you can use hot pants for very short pants worn during particularly during summer. Now, I'm coming to a third term, wobble. If you try to stand on three fingers of your hand, perhaps you wouldn't be able to do it, but if you did, hypothetically speaking, three fingers, your index finger, your middle finger, and the ring finger. Try to stand on these three fingers. Would you be able to stand firmly? No, because these three fingers have different sizes. They are not of uniform size. So if you stand, you will not be fairly stable. You will wobble a little bit. That's called wobble. In case of molecular biology, there is a term, expression by a wobble hypothesis, which means that the three bases, codon and anticodon, when they match, one or two base does not really form hydrogen bonds properly. If the hydrogen bonds are formed, they break and then reform and so on. In other words, they are not stable, and that's called wobble hypothesis.